Ever wonder why Harley Davidson motorcycles have such a cult following? Is it the roar of the engine or the smell of the leather? Well, folks, today we're going to take a deep dive into the Harley Davidson conundrum and try to decipher this fascination that has grown into a cult-like following over the years. We're talking about a brand that's been around for over 100 years and still manages to make hearts thump and adrenaline pump. Now, what makes a Harley a Harley? Is it the iconic V-twin engine that purrs like a big cat in a jungle? Or perhaps it's the unmistakable silhouette that screams freedom and rebellion? Or maybe it's just the fact that a Harley isn't just a motorcycle, it's a lifestyle. You see, when you buy a Harley, you're not just buying a piece of machinery, you're buying into a legacy. A legacy that's steeped in the spirit of open roads and the wind in your hair. A legacy that's been built on a foundation of grit, determination, and the pursuit of the American dream. But here's where things get interesting. Over the years, Harley Davidson has rolled out countless models, each with its own unique charm. You've got the classics, the grizzled veterans of the road, if you will. These are the bikes that have been around the block, seen the world, and have the battle scars to prove it. Then, you've got the new recruits, the shiny, high-tech models that are infused with modern features and technology. These are the bikes that are trying to carry the torch forward, bringing the Harley Davidson legacy into the new era. This beckons an age-old question, one that has sparked countless debates in biker bars around the world. Old versus new, classic versus modern, tradition versus innovation. Which one truly embodies the spirit of Harley Davidson? So buckle up, or should we say strap on your helmet, as we delve into the world of Harley Davidson motorcycles, comparing the grizzled veterans to the shiny new recruits. Remember the good old days when motorcycles were as straightforward as a punch in the face? Well, if you don't, let me take you on a journey back in time. A time when the Harley Davidson was the king of the road and the king of our hearts. Not just a motorcycle, but a beast that roared its presence on the open highway. The old guard, those vintage Harley Davidsons, they were as simple as they come. A motor, 2 wheels, and a prayer. That's all you had and all you needed. No fancy gizmos, no digital displays, just pure, unfiltered motorcycling bliss. They were built like a tank, and they rode like one too. But boy, did they have a charm that's hard to find these days. Now, let's talk design. Those classic models were a sight to behold. The raw metal, the chrome finish, the leather seat worn out by countless miles. You'd see one of these beauties cruising down the road and you'd know, that's a Harley. There was no mistaking it. They were a piece of Americana, a symbol of freedom and rebellion, a testament to the spirit of the open road. But let's not sugarcoat things here, folks. These old Harley Davidsons, they had their quirks. They were heavier than a pregnant buffalo, and turning them was like wrestling a grizzly bear. And let's not even talk about the suspension, or should I say, the lack thereof. Every bump in the road was a personal greeting from the asphalt gods. And as for modern conveniences, well, let's just say that these bikes were about as modern as a dinosaur. No heated grips, no cruise control, not even a fuel gauge. You had to guess how much gas you had left by shaking the tank and listening to the slosh. Sure, they might have been heavier than a buffalo and lacked the creature comforts of a modern bike, but boy, did they have character. And that, my friends, is something that no amount of technology can ever replace. Now, let's shift gears and talk about the new generation of Harley Davidsons. Sleek, shiny, and packed with more gadgets than a spy movie. Ah, the new kids on the block. These babies are like the James Bond of motorcycles. They're cool, smooth, and they've got gadgets. Lots of gadgets. You know, the kind that makes you question if you're riding a motorcycle or piloting a spaceship. Let's start with the performance. These new models, they've got power. And I mean a lot of it. They've got engines that'll make your old lawnmower sound like a whisper. And the speed? Let's just say if you're late for work, that won't be a problem anymore. But remember, with great power comes great speeding tickets. Then there's the comfort. These motorcycles have seats that feel like they were made by angels. They're so comfortable you might just forget you're on a motorcycle and not lounging on your couch at home. And the suspension, it's like riding on a cloud. I swear, you could ride over a pothole and not spill a drop of your morning coffee. But the real star of the show is the technology. These bikes are loaded with modern tech. Touchscreen displays, GPS navigation, smartphone connectivity, you name it. They've even got heated grips for those chilly morning rides. It's like they took a luxury car and squeezed it into a motorcycle. However, with all these features come a few, let's call them quirks. For example, the price. These new models don't come cheap. You might need to sell a kidney or two to afford one. And then there's the complexity. With all the tech packed into these motorcycles, you might need a degree in rocket science just to figure out how to start the engine. So they might cost an arm and a leg and require a PhD to operate, but they sure do make you feel like a rock star. So it's the grizzled veterans against the shiny new recruits. Who comes out on top in this Harley Davidson showdown? Let's start with the old guard, the classic Harleys. These machines are like the Clint Eastwoods of the motorcycle world, rugged, timeless, and they don't take any nonsense. They're the kind of bikes that make you feel like you've stepped back into a simpler time, when a bike was just a bike, and not a computer on wheels. On the flip side, these old bikes are like that stubborn old uncle who refuses to use a smartphone. They're not exactly known for their technological advancements or creature comforts. They've got character, sure, but they also have their quirks. It's a bit like dating someone 30 years your senior. They might have some great stories, but you're going to have to put up with a few aches and pains. Now let's look at the new kids on the block. These are the sleek, shiny, high-tech machines that look like they just stepped off the set of a sci-fi movie. They've got all the modern conveniences, GPS, Bluetooth, heated seats, you name it. They're like the George Clooney's of the motorcycle world, smooth, sophisticated, and they come with all the bells and whistles. But, much like a Hollywood heartthrob, these new Harleys can be a bit high maintenance. They require constant attention and care. And if something goes wrong, you're going to need a degree in computer science to fix it. Plus, with all those extra features, you're paying for a lot more than just a motorcycle. It's like dating a supermodel. It might look great, but it's going to cost you. In the end, whether you prefer the raw power and simplicity of the old models or the sleek design and modern conveniences of the new ones, there's a Harley Davidson for everyone. So, which Harley Davidson reigns supreme? The answer might surprise you. We've been on quite a ride, haven't we? Comparing the old-school Harleys to the new-age ones, it's like comparing a classic vinyl record to a digital download. Both have their unique charms, but let's not beat around the bush here, folks. The old guard, our beloved vintage Harleys, are like a fine bottle of whiskey. They've aged well. They have a character, a soul, if you will. Their rumbling engines and the unmistakable roar, it's the sweetest melody to a biker's ear. The smell of gasoline, the feeling of the wind in your face, and the raw mechanical connection, it's an experience, a journey, not merely a ride. Now, the new kids on the block, the modern Harleys, they're like that fancy high-tech cocktail you get at a swanky bar. They've got all the bells and whistles, the fuel injection, the ABS, the digital dash. They're smooth, reliable, and efficient. They're the kind of bikes that make you feel like you're riding in the 21st century. So who wins this showdown? Well, it's a tough call, like choosing between a grilled cheese sandwich and a lobster bisque. Both are delicious in their own right. The old Harleys, they've got the nostalgia, the tradition, the heritage. The new ones, they've got the innovation, the technology, the convenience. In the end, it's not about which Harley is better. It's about what you value more. Is it the raw, unfiltered, visceral experience of riding a classic Harley? Or is it the comfort, the safety, and the modern conveniences of a new-age Harley? There's no right or wrong answer here. It's like asking someone to choose between a sunset and a sunrise. Both are beautiful, each in its own unique way. Whether you're an old-timer who yearns for the good old days, or a tech-savvy rider who loves the latest gadgets, there's no denying that Harley Davidson motorcycles have a charm that's hard to resist.